Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we need to review, some things that's happened out there in regards to Juneteenth. Now, we know yesterday was Juneteenth, and over here we are celebrating Juneteenth all the month of June, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later in the podcast. Now, for me, one thing I love when the white supremacists are extremely bothered about something we're doing, we're celebrating, etc. When I see them crying, like you're going to see them crying in this podcast today, I am like a shark detecting blood in the water. When the white supremacists are complaining about something we're doing, I'm a firm believer of we need to mash the gas and do more of it and do it to an extreme, because what we're doing is being effective. Now, when it comes to Juneteenth, I will say once again, I am a person who was born in Texas. We have celebrated Juneteenth every year that I have been born. There's not one year that we did not celebrate Juneteenth. Now, just because a lot of people throughout the country are Johnny-come-latelys to Juneteenth because it became a federal holiday, it is not nothing new to me or to a lot of other black folks in the South who will celebrate Juneteenth every year. Now, we're going to cover and start off with one of the premier, white supremacists, Nick Fuentes. Let's go ahead and run a clip of him real quick. And we got Charlie Kirk, and we got this other journalist named Chadwick. Oh, we got to talk about them today. So let's cue up Nick Fuentes first, and then we'll be jumping in, just kind of responding to some things he has to say. Now, this was the episode, the title, Don't Celebrate Juneteenth. Don't do it. Don't. All right, let's go.
More than undermining and undoing the real roots of America's founding, which is Western white Christian civilization. I see a lot of conservatives today and they're saying, well, I'm going to celebrate Juneteenth. What's wrong with it? We're celebrating black people being freed from slavery. Isn't that what America's all about? Freedom, and freedom for everybody. I see that from a lot of conservatives. They think it's great. But, the thing is about all these types of things, MLK Day, Juneteenth, etc., it's not really about what they say it's about. It's not about celebrating black people being freed. It's about undermining white America.
So we celebrating our icons like Martin Luther King. We're celebrating the freedom of black Americans off of the plantation fields of America. And the white supremacists got to center themselves in what we got going on, right? For me, it's very funny, but let's continue.
As always, that's what this is about. And people say, what? How? How is celebrating the freeing of the slaves undermining white America?
Yes, because white people have been asking that question too to an idiot like this one, but let him explain.
Because there has been a persistent left-wing narrative, which is supported by almost all black people in this country.
Well, didn't you just say conservatives wanted to celebrate Juneteenth? They said it was about freedom, so it's not just left-wing. But, we know white supremacists are remedial, but we'll continue.
That the roots and origins of the founding of our nation are steeped in sin and wrongdoing and evil. And
it is.
We know that. They tear down the monuments to our founding fathers. They don't believe in an original interpretation of the Constitution. They believe the Constitution is fundamentally flawed. They believe that our founders and even the settlers that arrived at the country before the founders were corrupt and wicked and evil people.
They were.
And all Juneteenth is about advancing that narrative. Independence Day wasn't good enough. 4th of July isn't good enough because the framers and the signers were slave owners. And the nation they created was slavery nation. So that's not good enough. Independence Day is not good enough for black people. George Washington's not good enough for black people.
No, he's not. Not at all. But let's continue.
Thomas Jefferson's not good enough for black people. They need to have their own Independence Day. That is what this is about. It's about giving credence to the idea that America didn't really start until after the Civil War.
To the remedial white supremacists out there, let me tell you why black Americans have wholeheartedly started to reject celebrating July 4th. Let's go back into American history here just for a moment. At the time, the British was over this beginning of this nation, right? Before it really got started as America. And my ancestors were enslaved. There was a thing called the Revolutionary War that happened. They could not even start the Revolutionary War without us. It took our brother Crispus Attucks to jump off the Revolutionary War. But black folks wasn't really participating in the Revolutionary War at first. Black people still on the plantations. So the white folks at that time say, hey, black people, if you help us fight the British, and if you help us win, we will get you off of the plantation fields if you help us defeat the British. What happened? Our ancestors helped them defeat the British. What happened to our ancestors? Did July 4th, 1776? Did we come off of the plantation fields? No. After we fought, bled, and died to help them to get the British off of their backs, they put us right back into chattel slavery. So while they celebrating their freedom on July 4th, 1776, we were put right back in chains. We were lied to. Understand? So why would any black American who know history and got a lick of common sense would be celebrating a July 4th? We have been calling it for a few years now the 4th of July. We have been calling it that. I don't celebrate that holiday. It has nothing to do with me. I have said for years that our freedom, the freedom of the black man and woman in America, freedom is June 19th, 1865. And we should always celebrate our freedom, our independence. Now, if you want to celebrate your July 4th, I won't stand in the way of that. Do it. I got nothing to do with it. But noticing the narrative they're saying is that we're competing with July 4th. How is it competing? July 4th is a federal holiday. Where's the competition? What it is that anything we do, we make it hot. Anything we do, we make it fun. Anything we do, we make it cool. So everybody wants to participate in what we got going on. And when we say, we good on July 4th, do you? We got Juneteenth. You know good and well that you don't like that, because we literally could turn July 4th as black people into a nothing holiday, no different than St. Patrick's Day. You notice black people don't get involved with that. We don't care about that. That's not for us. That's how we look at that. Now, let's get to the next one. Charlie Kirk. He was complaining. Let's put up his tweet before we play the video. Charlie Kirk here says on Twitter, you should be working today, not taking today off for a CRT inspired federal holiday that competes with July 4th. Of course, Orion Sheed at the bottom says the forehead of white supremacy speaks. But of course, for the viewers who are not in America and don't know what CRT is critical race theory. Please look that up in your spare time so you know exactly what critical race theory is. So Charlie Kirk himself, Turning Point USA, who Candace always got her start with. You see what kind of ilk come out of that white supremacist outfit. I want you to hear what he had to say about Juneteenth.
What exactly is going on here? Well, very few people are willing to actually call this out. From the first time that this was floated as a federal holiday, I am thankful and proud to say on this program we opposed it. This is not about out of many one. No, it's about a certain skin color now gets their own summertime celebration, the exact same thing that happens before NFL games where they play the Black national anthem. This recognition of this as a quote-unquote federal holiday comes right out of the 1619 Project. Look who's most excited that this is a federal holiday.
And it's not quote unquote, it is a federal holiday, just letting you know. It is. It's on the book.
And they're not talking about this as a massive celebration. Oh, wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day.
Who complained on Juneteenth? I haven't met one person complain. They were celebrating, but nobody's complaining. Like, you're a freaking idiot. Like, do you just regurgitate poop in the morning? I mean, seriously.
Now we have a full day to be able to smear and slander white America.
Nobody even thinking about y'all. Like, why do you center yourself in our business? Nobody's even talking about y'all, bruh. Like, seriously. Like, every time we do something in our culture and celebrate our heritage, everybody losing their freaking mind. You see how the white supremacists is acting about us celebrating our history?
This holiday is a wedge, and I put in quotes, holiday is a wedge, used to push for countless destructive policies demanded by BLM. And Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday is a nationalized race hustle. Someone says here, Charlie, you're so clueless about Juneteenth. As an 87-year-old white woman who grew up on my father's cotton farm, we hired many black workers. You should do more research on the subject. The Declaration of Freedom was not received in Texas until June 19th. You're being disrespectful, all the blacks who endured slavery. Hold on a second. None of the blacks that are alive today endured slavery.
And you see his own viewers made him look stupid. His own viewers, a white viewer that watches him.
Number one. Number two, you're trying to tell me that today is really a recognition of the liberation of slaves. If that was the case, we would have a lifting up of Abraham Lincoln, not a tearing down of Abraham Lincoln. Number three, why do blacks need their own National Independence Day? Because that's what the bill says. Why does melanin content in your skin necessitate your own National Independence Day? We used to have a red, white, and blue Independence Day on July 4th. Now we have one based on the melanin content of your skin.
Hey, Charlie, we do have a red, white, and blue Independence Day for black people. It's called Juneteenth. The flag of Juneteenth is red, white, and blue. I won't accept no other flag but the red, white, and blue Juneteenth flag for our freedom and our people. That was created in 1967. So what are you talking about? Anybody that's waving a RBG and any other things like that, that is not the official flag for Juneteenth. Now, we want to celebrate, Pan-Africanism Day or Marcus Garvey Day. Hey, we'll wave the red, black, and green all day. But when it comes to Juneteenth, it's red, white, and blue. It's just that simple. But you see how they're losing their freaking mind about us celebrating our culture, celebrating our history, being thankful for what our ancestors went through. You see how everybody's losing their freaking mind? And it makes me think, well, we should have been doing this a long time ago. Really celebrating our culture, gatekeeping our culture, and really letting everybody know you're going to put some respect on what we got going on. Because, see, it seems like the white supremacists need us to be wandering around aimlessly and not centering ourselves on culture, not centering ourselves on our history, not being proud of our ancestors and what they have done for us. Because you have to understand, if you are here today and I'm here today, that means my ancestors and your ancestors went through a lot to get you where you are today. How I'm doing things, how I'm even living, is what my ancestors went through, because they didn't live the way I'm living now. But I would be sorry and no good if I don't try to do the best that I can with the blood, sweat, and tears of what my ancestors went through. Don't let these people try to shame you. And you talk about federal holiday when it's clearly a federal holiday. Now, I know some black people are having some reserve about it. Some are saying, well, it's going to get commercialized. Listen, in America, everything will get commercialized, okay? We live in a capitalistic society. That's going to happen. Fine. Don't worry about that. Some people say, well, I don't like it became a federal holiday because all these other people will get involved. Don't care what everybody else do. We got to be focused on us and what we do. Because if you're worrying about what other folks are doing, it's just not really the deal. Listen, how I look at my platform or what I do, I'm not focused on other people. I'm not focused on what they doing, what they saying, unless they talking about us or trying to do something to mess with us or undermine us. Then I get involved. You leave us alone and you're not doing us nothing, I won't say a word about you. I'm good on that. But Juneteenth is really bothering the white supremacists. It's bothering them. And because it's bothering them, that's why we got to push it a lot harder. Now, the Black National Anthem for the NFL games is nothing we never asked for. That's why I don't even talk about that. There's nothing we asked for. They want to do it, fine. That's their league. They do what they want to do. But Juneteenth is something that we should always celebrate. It is our Independence Day. And it's not a competition with July 4th because there's no comparison. Our freedom is something that should be celebrated. Ours. And we're going to celebrate that. Now, something else that I was talking about, and a tweet came up. A lot of people have been talking about this particular tweet by this particular journalist here named Chadwick. Let's put that up. Chadwick Moore says he's a journalist. He is also an author, wrote a book on Tucker Carlson. He says, and you see here, I'm sorry, blacks, but you already have a month. Juneteenth isn't a thing. What kind of journalist are you? You can't even research, not even 2 seconds. Don't colonize our month as well. Thanks. Signed, the gays. Then he said at the bottom, this tweet seems to have touched a nerve with the left because they were all thinking it. Then a brother at the bottom said, this man named Chadwick. He clowned him. He said, Chadwick is a working class Southern name. In fact, most Chadwicks I know are black, like a famous actor you might have heard of. He said, bro, your name's Chadwick. And then his comeback is you wearing a mask. Now, I guess he's talking about the late Chadwick Boseman. Well, why you bring up Chadwick Boseman for? He's not tweeting that. So now you have people in the LGBT community worried about us making Juneteenth a thing that we celebrate the whole month. And that's right. We should do that. At least that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I'm going to promote from now on. Just like we don't celebrate Black History Day, we celebrate Black History Month. Just like Juneteenth is one day, but we should be celebrating that the whole month. We don't have to ask nobody for permission to celebrate our history. We don't have to ask nobody to honor our culture. We don't have to get permission from nobody to look at our heritage. We don't need to ask anybody about any flags that we choose to fly, whether it's the Juneteenth flag, whether it's the Black American Heritage flag. We don't have to ask permission from nobody. We need to do us, and we're going to do us, period. They can get mad, they can toil, they could turn, they can do whatever they want to do. But one thing about us as black people, once we set our mind to something, and once we say this is what we're going to do, we do it. And they know that. This is why they can't have us centered on a particular thing. That's why they want to keep us distracted. That's why they want to keep us confused. That's why they want to keep us high on drugs. That's why they want to keep us so sex crazed. That's why they want to keep us so drunk with alcohol. And feeding us reality TV to keep up drama and low vibrational things to watch. They got to do that because you get too centered on something, you're going to make some change. And for them, they even fearing June 19th. That is a fear for them because they feel this is how they think. If you're changing the social order and the social discourse on what should be celebrated in this country, that for them, that is a threat, and that takes some power away from them. Because understand something, if black folks successfully say June 19th is the Freedom Day, June 19th is Independence Day, and we make it hot, all these other groups gonna show up. Then when they do something to July 4th, nobody want to hear no country music and Garth Brooks and all this. Nobody gonna go to that crap. Nobody cares. Sure, people take the federal holiday. Sure, they'll take the extra pay from the job and all that other stuff. They'll gladly take that. But they're worried about our holiday. That's what they're worried about. That one. Now, some of you say, well, Joe Biden did that for symbolism. Sure, he did. I agree with that. But for the white supremacists, it's way more to it than just symbolism. It is a threat on the social conversation in this country. And they look at that as something to diminish them. And if they looking at it that way, then I say we need to go harder, even harder next year for Juneteenth. We were barbecuing for Juneteenth. We was having family reunions around that time. We was always just celebrating with the family, right? And we need to make that a monthly celebration. Now I seen the Human Rights, I think Commission, or whatever they are, the one for the LGBT. They say, oh, well, Juneteenth, it's about intersectionality. No, it is not. No. Juneteenth is about my ancestors and the Black Americans who's watching the ancestors getting free off of the plantations of America. That's it. That's what it's about. We are not playing that intersectionality. You're not going to all lives matter and take it away from what it means. No, because now what they're trying to do is say it's about freedom and freedom and freedom, but they're not telling you freedom from what. So watch them keep saying freedom, because they try to change the discourse from being freed from the plantation fields of America to just being freedom in general. Don't let the white supremacists in the media do that. It is going to be on us. Everybody who has a platform, everybody who's saying things on the social media, those of you in your everyday life, when they talk about, oh, it's about freedom. Yes, freedom from slavery and our ancestors getting up off that plantation. That's what it's about. It is about nothing else. Remember, part of gatekeeping our culture is not letting no one, no matter who they are, come in with anything contrary to what it is. You can't bring no contrary flags. You can't bring no contrary colors. You can't bring no contrary meanings. No, it's going to be about what it is. Just like the Chinese don't let you bring nothing in contrary to their culture. Just like the Jewish community don't let you come in with colors of their flag that don't mean that what they set it up to be. Just as much as you got Arabs and don't let you come in and try to change the meaning of Islam and all that because you want to be inclusive. No, they gatekeep their culture, and we're doing the same thing. And we got to be dog eat dog about protecting everything related to whatever it is that's in our culture, whether it's Juneteenth, even things like hip hop. We created that. And we have been a bad steward of our culture because we've been letting all these different people in. And you may say, well, we can't really stop the record labels. Oh, listen, no, we can't stop the record labels from putting nothing out. But our cosign as a culture is what makes that artist good or make them be a bust. That's the thing. We can put a cosign to a whole lot of things. And we can shut down a whole lot of things too. Don't you think that we don't have a collective power in America when we all get on code? That's why they want to keep us all drugged up, high, and sex crazed and degenerates and all that. Because as long as you are freaking degenerate and everything else to go along with it, then you're not focusing on protecting your culture, gatekeeping your culture, empowering your culture. You're not focused on that. You're not focused on unification, whether it's unification here or even unifying with brothers and sisters abroad. You're not focused on that because they got you. So that's why they want to approve you to have so much marijuana. Is because as long as you high, you're not thinking about nothing else because you're high. You understand? So the white supremacists are very, very upset. They're concerned. They feel that Juneteenth is competing with their holiday, because it's truth. July 4th is the white supremacist holiday. That's yours. We're not taking that from you as black people. We are not taking that away from you. It's yours. Have at it. Keep it. Do all the things that you want to do with that. We're not telling you anything. We never said that, because we've been celebrating Juneteenth forever. We never said, well, July 4th is competing. No, it's not competing because it's not the same thing. It has nothing to do with the same reason why we do what we do. But I want y'all to pay attention how they center themselves in everything that we do. And I told you, the white supremacist measure himself and his place in society based off of what we do, what we say, how we live, if we poor, if we in the middle, if we on top. He measures everything off of us. And how he looking at it is that we are, in his mind, taking over in a way. He look at it as, okay, if they can take over socially, then it won't be long for they take over other ways. That's how the white supremacists look at that. Now, black people are not saying nothing about taking over anything. They're not. I know they're not. Black people just want to go along and get along. Black people just want to be treated just a little bit better in the plantation than what they are now, the Babylon plantation. They just want to be treated just a little bit better. You just leave them alone. If you just treat them just maybe like you treat the Asian and those kind of people, if you just treat them like that, they'd be happy with you. So black people ain't thinking about that. No, that's something you concerned about. And when Nick Fuentes talked about all the different people that was evil, yeah, they were evil. They were demonic. And that's a group of people that you want to defend. The monuments, that's monuments of demons. Of course the monuments need to come down. They were devils. There are white people in history that done great things. Why don't you put up those monuments? But you don't want to put up those monuments of the great white people in American history who did the right thing. You never put up those statues. You always want to pull up a devil because that's who you honor and that's who you praise because you're in league with the devil. But yes, brothers and sisters, we have to make Juneteenth a month. The whole month of June, Juneteenth. It's just that simple. And whether they like it or whoever don't like it, don't care. We're going to gatekeep it. We're going to protect it. We're going to do what we need to do to honor our ancestors. It's on us to keep the legacy of our ancestors going. The white supremacists are always trying to keep the legacy of their wicked ancestors going. So we, catching up. We're doing what we're supposed to do with the celebration and gatekeeping of our culture. Continue to celebrate Juneteenth all the month of June, all the way up to the end. Keep doing things with Juneteenth. Keep wearing your Juneteenth shirts this month. Have your flags and everything else that you need for Juneteenth. It's a whole month celebration. July 4th come. Well, yeah, take the federal holiday, but don't do nothing. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time because that's not our holiday whatsoever. It's for the white supremacists. Because remember, July 4th, 1776, they lied. And we went right back to the plantation. Now, we was promised if we help them defeat the British, there's something they could even do on their freaking own. We'll get off the plantation. If you celebrating July 4th at this point with the knowledge that we have today, you acting like a straight raccoon at that point. You are. Now, I expect Candace Owens to celebrate it, but brothers and sisters that actually know what's up and know our history, we would never celebrate July 4th.